In 2026, we're hunting long-haul bikes that feel stable, smooth, and kind to tired joints. Most riders think distance means weight, but one sleeper runs plush, light, for real mileage. We'll break down seat height in inches, tank size in gallons, and MPG targets for every pick. You'll get new and used pricing, talk that stays simple, plus systems that keep highway days peaceful for us. Now next up, we dodge breakdowns, stay planted, then we roll number 20. Number 20. Honda NX500. Some days we want a lighter tour that stays stable on sweepers and feels smooth in our hands. The NX500 nails that simple, peaceful mission, and it never begs us to prove anything at bike night. The 471cc parallel twin is tuned for strong torque, so passing feels clean instead of frantic. With a 4.5-gallon tank and a 55 to 65 miles per gallon target, 240 to 290 miles plus buffer mileage is normal. The seat height sits around 32.8 inches, which is manageable with boots, but parking lot stops can feel taller. For smart pricing, new examples usually land around $7,000 to $8,000, and clean used bikes often sit $6,500 to $7,700. Maintenance stays simple. Oil on a schedule, chain slack checks, filters kept clean, and it rewards us with strong starts. One rider said, "This is a marriage fixed in heaven and will be my partner for time to come." Just loving it. That we've watched riders do 3-day loops on scenic back roads, grab pie in small towns, then roll onto gravel lots without drama or fatigue. Touring tech is practical and secure. Anti-lock brakes, easy windscreen options, and luggage racks that bolt on without a weekend of headaches. If you like this light feel, the next pick keeps the stable manners but adds a sporty road edge. Number 19. Triumph Tiger Sport 660. After a couple of hours, we notice this bike quietly stays comfortable and stable, so our shoulders quit complaining and our focus stays sharp. That 660 cubic centimeters triple feels smooth and friendly, pulling clean for passes without the buzzy rushed vibe that creates fatigue. Fresh pricing sits around $9,695, and clean used setups land $7,000 to $10,000, staying smart on value. Fuel sits at about 4.5 gallons, and highway mileage near 40 to 50 miles per gallon makes 200-mile legs feel normal. Seat height is about 32.9 inches, tall enough for legroom, but still manageable with good boots and simple technique. Picture us cruising the Blue Ridge Parkway, stopping for photos, then rolling into dinner feeling relaxed and peaceful, not hurting. The special sauce is how light it feels at slow speed, yet it stays planted and secure in sweepers with wind control upgrades. Small downside, the stock wind pocket can feel limited for taller riders until we dial in a proper screen. Next up, we keep the touring mission, but trade triples for modern twin punch and a cleaner road edge. If your starter ever just clicks in public, hit like, because that shameful moment turns a fun trip into panic. Number 18. Suzuki GSX8R. Instead of a wrist torture rack, this one gives sporty speed with smooth manners, so we can ride fast and still feel human. The 776cc twin hits with strong, torquey mid-range, keeping passes simple and our hands calm. Dealer pricing sits in the high 9,000s, and used examples stay close because demand is heavy and supply is tight. Tank size is about 3.7 gallons, so range planning matters, but mileage of 45 to 55 keeps stops predictable. Seat height lands near 31.9 inches, and the cockpit feels roomy and natural once we set bars and pegs. On a 250-mile day, it stays peaceful in traffic, then turns swift and alive when gaps appear. One rider shared, "I'm still absolutely in love with this bike. It's such a fun, nimble machine with a great amount of power. A thicker seat and grippy pads make longer days feel secure when our hands get tired." Ride modes and traction help keep things controlled with modern secure support, especially when our energy drops late. That smaller tank can turn into annoying interstate fuel math, and that can feel painful. Coming next, we pivot into budget Adv space with a taller stance and a bigger fuel story. Number 17. Moto Morini 𝐏𝐄𝐑 650. For riders watching the wallet, this ADV brings solid budget value, and it feels ready for long weekends. Its 649cc twin is tuned for useful, torquey pull, so roll-ons stay simple with bags and a passenger. Clean use prices sit $5,000 to $8,000, and value feels strong when it includes racks, guards, and a taller screen. Fuel capacity is about 4.8 gallons, and mileage stays realistic and steady for 200 to 260-mile legs. Seat height is roughly 33.3 inches, so the stance is higher, but leverage feels steady and turns stay simple. We picture a 55-year-old rider crossing a state, parking downtown, and still having energy, happy steps, and fresh legs. Owners love bigger screen setup, and the chassis feels planted when crosswinds hit the highway. The dash and layout feel modern, and the triangle keeps hips happy with a plush, relaxed posture. Shorter inseams may feel intimidated until we practice 1-foot stops and get confident boots. Next, we stay budget-minded, but add larger wind protection and a true touring silhouette. If your wrists have ever felt burning in traffic, click like, then subscribe today and dodge ugly tow weekends again. Number 16, Benelli TRK 502X. When we want touring vibes, this one brings touring with plush wind coverage and stable highway manners. The 500 cubic centimeters twin is not a rocket, but it stays consistent, smooth, and cuts fatigue on long days. Sticker pricing sits $6,699, while clean used bikes land mid-3s to mid-6s. Bargain. Tank size is 5.3 gallons, and the mileage range gives 220 to 280 miles with buffer room. Seat height is roughly 33.9 inches, so it sits higher, yet the wide seat feels plush and keeps pressure gentle. If we ride 2 up, the rear seat feels broader and more supportive, and the bike stays stable when crosswinds shove us around. Imagine a long weekend mixing back roads and highway, stopping because we choose it, feeling peaceful and ready. Top speed, a Benelli TRK 502X. Simple tech and a practical fairing make it seem larger than the price, and luggage support. The heavier weight shows at parking lot speed, so we keep moving deliberately and securely. Next up, we drop the seat, go lighter and sportier, and keep day rides simple for everyday riders. Number 15, Honda CBR500R. Surprisingly, a sports silhouette can still be comfortable and stable, and highway pace feels calm once we settle in. That 471cc twin is proven and simple, so ownership stays cheap while the motor keeps smiling. Clean used pricing runs mid-4s up to $8,000, and stock survivors cost more because demand stays steady. Fuel is about 4.5 gallons, and mileage plus range gives 200 to 260 miles before we feel urgent. Seat height sits near 30.9 inches, which keeps the seat secure and knees in a friendly, natural bend. Chain care is simple, parts are plentiful, and keeps trips cheerful when we are far away. Think of a 400-mile Saturday with a taller screen and a plush seat pad. Then we arrive smiling, not hurting. It is special because it does distance by being peaceful and simple. And the fairing keeps the ride steady. Wind protection depends on setup, so the pocket feels quieter and cleaner with a proper screen. Next, we pivot into classic character with longer range, the kind that makes our trip feel personal. Number 14, Aprilia Tuareg 660. Some bikes beg us to stay on pavement, but the Tuareg 660 invites detours and keeps control when the map turns to gravel. The 659cc twin pulls with sweet torque, and the chassis feels stable enough that we stop death gripping the bars. New pricing sits around $12,499, while clean used survivors usually land $8,000 to $13,000, which is solid value. Fuel capacity is about 4.8 gallons, and our realistic range target sits around 180 to 240 miles per tank at 45 to 55 miles per gallon. Seat height is about 33.9 inches, so shorter inseams may want a secure footing, thicker boots, and smarter stops. Exhaust sound of Aprilia Tuareg 660. On a 2-day loop, we can run smooth 2 lanes, roll into a forest road, and park on loose gravel without that panicky wobble. Electronics are a real safety net here, with modern ride modes, traction control, and ABS that help us stay calmer when the surface changes. The only catch is that the tall stands can feel awkward and heavier in tight gas station turns until we learn the balance point. If you love this go anywhere freedom, the next bike trades dirt chops for classic spirit and a longer fuel stretch. If you ever bought a bike that felt amazing briefly, click like, then subscribe, and tell us your plush upgrade. Number 13, Moto Guzzi V85 TT. When the ride is about scenery and small-town coffee, this one brings character and keeps fatigue lower without chasing drama. The 853 cubic centimeters air-cooled V-twin makes torque down low, and the bike feels stable at 70 miles per hour without constant corrections. New pricing commonly sits around $12,000 to $13,000, and clean used machines usually land 8,000 to 13,000, which is smart value. That big tank holds about 6.1 gallons, so our practical range goal is easily about 250 miles at 48 to 54 miles per gallon. Seat height is about 32.7 inches, and the upright layout gives knees room to relax. Plus, neutral posture keeps shoulders loose on all-day runs. Tech stays modern but not bossy, with ABS, traction control, and ride modes that feel simple once we set them and forget them. On a long backroad day, we can roll past farms, hit a windy ridge, then cruise home while the engine stays peaceful and unrushed. The trade-off is that dealership access can be spotty and frustrating in some regions, so we plan service and order parts early. If we like this old-school spirit, the next bike brings a smooth highway legend vibe with fewer chain chores. Number 12. Yamaha FJR1300ES. If we want to knock out big miles before lunch, the FJR1300ES delivers swift passing and silent confidence at cruise. That 1,298 cubic centimeters inline, 4 stays smooth at highway pace, and the shaft drive keeps simple on long tours. New pricing lists around $18,299, while clean used examples usually run $5,000 to $13,000, with late models holding strong value. The tank is about 6.6 gallons, so our practical range is roughly 230 to 300 miles at about 38 to 45 miles per gallon. Seat height adjusts around the low 32-inch zone, which helps secure stops when we are tired and loaded. Electronic suspension and a power windscreen add plush control, and cruise control lets our right hand stay happier on endless slabs. On a yearly 500-mile run, we can leave at sunrise, eat miles, and still feel fresher and calmer at dinner. Not just a motel collapse. The downside is that weight feels heavier and awkward in parking lots, so we respect slow speed balance and keep the bars turned less. If this old school touring feels right, the next bike goes precision heavy with a boxer twin that changes the whole engine vibe. Number 11. BMW R1250 RS. Crosswind days can turn a trip into labor, but the R1250 RS stays planted and keeps control where lighter bikes get twitchy. The 1,254cc boxer twin makes torque that feels smooth in the mid-range, so passing is calm instead of frantic. New pricing started around $15,295 before options, and used bikes usually run $9,000 to $15,000, with packages adding real value. Fuel capacity is about 4.8 gallons, and a typical target of 40 to 48 miles per gallon puts the range around 180 to 240 miles. Seat height is about 31.1 inches, giving a secure footing for many riders who want easy stops. BMW tech is strong here, with traction control, ABS, cruise control, and suspension tuning that keeps it stable when pavement gets rough. On a long interstate run to see family, we can sit in the wind pocket, let cruise do its job, and arrive fresher and calmer with fewer shoulder knots. The sting is that options can get expensive fast, and service costs are not small either, so we budget like grown-ups. If we love this feeling, the next bike brings more speedy energy with a sport tour stance that still stays friendly. Number 10. Kawasaki Ninja 1100SX. Sport tour speed can be a knee saver when we are tired, and the Ninja 1100SX brings powerful passing with stable manners at 80. The 1099cc inline 4 feels silky in the mid-range, and the throttle response stays predictable when traffic gets weird. New pricing sits around $13,699, and used examples usually run $6,000 to $15,000, which can be smart value for miles. The tank is about 5.0 gallons, and a practical target of 38 to 45 miles per gallon puts the range around 180 to 240 miles. Seat height is about 32.3 inches. So many riders get secure stops even with bags loaded. Cruise control, traction control, and ride modes and add modern help, and the fairing makes the highway feel calmer for our shoulders. On a long interstate run, we can sit in the wind shelter, click off clean passes, and finish the day fresher without that wrist burning. The small knock is heat can show up in slow summer traffic, which is annoying, and the lean feel is sportier than a full dresser. If we like this speedy touring vibe, the next bike goes more upright and adventure ready for broken pavement days. Number 9. Husqvarna Norden 901 Expedition. Hours into a long day, this ride still feels plush, secure, and ready for more miles. That 889cc twin gives effortless pull with a smooth beat that keeps our hands happy New pricing lives in the mid to high teens, while used examples sit around 10 to 16,000 with bags already fitted. You get about 5.0 gallons of 40 to 47 mileage target and 200 to 250 mile legs before we even worry. Seat height lands near 34.3 inches, yet the narrow midsection keeps stops controlled and less stressful. The Expedition package adds a taller screen and heated grips, plus suspension travel that stays damped when pavement turns rough. Maintenance stays simple and serviceable because intervals are clear, and parts support is strong in most regions. Think 2-lane cruising, then a scenic pull-off with surprise gravel, and the chassis stays steady and predictable. With a wider seat and taller screen, windproof airflow stays gentler, and our neck feels relaxed at speed today. Shorter inseams can feel intimidating when the tank is full and the lot is sloped. Next up goes more street-focused, feels lowered, and brings a sporty edge that stays friendly. Had a tow truck weekend that felt terrible? Tap like, subscribe, then comment your worst touring bill. Fueling, tires, or maintenance. Number 8. Ducati SuperSport 950. Sometimes we want speedy fun without a brutal crouch, and this setup feels sportier, yet still human. The 937 cubic centimeters V-twin gives punchy drive with silky roll-on, so passing is quick and calm. New pricing starts around $15,300, while used examples often land from $8,000 to $15,000, depending on miles. Fuel capacity is about 4.2 gallons, and a 38 to 45 mileage target means we plan stops with intent. Range lands near 160 to 220 miles, so planning keeps the day relaxed. Seat height sits near 31.9 inches, and the reach to the bars feels natural for older shoulders. Rider aids like traction control and cornering anti-lock brakes feel subtle and secure, not twitchy or annoying. In real life, we run mountain sweepers in the morning, then roll 2 hours of highway, and our wrists stay thankful at lunch. Add a taller screen and a gentler seat, and the bike turns into a legit weekend tool without losing that Italian sparkle. Neglected service can get costly fast, so buy the history and skip this shiny mystery. Next up, trades the sport vibe for special character, plus more windproof calm at steady speed. Number 7. Moto Guzzi Stelvio. Here's the rare bird that feels special, planted, and ready for the long way home. That 1042 cc V-twin has a punchy surge with smooth delivery, so the throttle never feels jerky. Clean listings often run 15 to 18,000, while new pricing usually sits in the mid-teens, depending on trim. Fuel capacity is about 5.5 gallons. Miles per gallon often sits around 38 to 44, and range lands near 200 to 260 miles. Seat height is about 32.7 inches, and the upright stance keeps shoulders relaxed and wrists thankful. The big win is the shaft drive, which means fewer chain chores, cleaner upkeep, and simple travel days. Tech is modern with cruise control, traction settings, and cornering anti-lock brakes that feel subtle and secure. In real life, we roll scenic highways, stop for coffee, then do a long interstate stretch, and the bike stays stable in crosswinds. A big screen and roomy seat make windproof airflow feel gentler, so our back stays happier after dinner too. Parts and dealer support can vary, so route planning stays smart before a huge trip. Next up keeps the adventure intent, but turns the dial to harder terrain and speedier rough road pace. Number 6. KTM 890 Adventure R. When pavement turns ugly, this bike stays stable, controlled, and confident at speed. The 889 cubic centimeters twin feels punchy and effortless, making passing simple even when we are tired. Used examples often sit from 8 to 16,000, while new pricing lands in the mid-teens once setup is done. Fuel capacity is about 5.3 gallons. A 40 to 48 mileage target is realistic, and range lands near 200 to 260 miles. Seat height is about 34.6 inches, so technique matters, but the balance feels surprisingly manageable. 2 facts you notice. Suspension stays damped over seams, and the chassis stays planted when wind slaps hard. Tech is strong with ride modes, traction control, anti-lock brakes, and an optional quick shifter that keeps fatigue lower. Taller screen and seat upgrades make longer stints feel gentler, and our hips stay happier at the hotel. In real life, we run a windy canyon, hit a gravel detour, then cruise home, and steering stays steady with minimal wobble. The tall stance can feel intimidating at gas stops, and that can be stressful until it becomes routine. Next up drops the seat, goes more touring focused, and feels calmer with a windproof pocket. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Road King Special. Some days we just want a relaxed posture, peaceful cadence, and a seat that feels friendly at every stop. That Milwaukee 8 114 cubic inch V-twin gives punchy roll-on torque with smooth delivery, so rolling passes feel simple. New pricing often starts in the mid-20,000s, while used examples range from 10 to 30,000, depending on year and accessories. Fuel capacity is about 6.0 gallons. Miles per gallon often runs 35 to 45, and real mileage range sits near 180 to 240 miles. Seat height is about 27.4 inches, which makes U-turns in gas stops feel vastly less stressful. Two facts matter. The aftermarket world is massive, and the fit is senior-friendly for knees and hips. It is not loaded with screens, yet the simple layout and cleaner controls make the day calmer for tired brains. In real life, we do 2 hours, stop for lunch, then do 2 more, and our shoulders stay relaxed instead of tensed. For longer weekends with fewer aches, it is heavy in tight parking lots, so we respect slow speed moments and stay patient. Next up keeps the touring mission, but adds more modern muscle and thicker windproof protection. Number 4, Indian Challenger. After hours of interstate, this one keeps us calmer, upright, and windproof in a touring pocket. That Power Plus 108 cubic inch V-twin feels torquey and smooth, so passing stays effortless even with bags loaded. New pricing usually starts in the mid-20,000s, while clean used examples land around 16 to 31,000, depending on trim and miles. The tank holds about 6.0 gallons, and with a 35 to 45 miles per gallon target, we plan 200 to 270 mile legs. Seat height sits around 26 to 27 inches, which makes stops feel secure and less stressful on tired knees. Tech depends on trim, but you can get cruise control, ride modes, and a screen that keeps the day simple. In real life, we do a 300-mile run, hit crosswinds, and still feel fresh walking into dinner. The special part is that it rides stable and planted without feeling slow or sleepy when traffic opens up. The size demands respect in parking lots, and tight U-turns can feel heavier than expected. If you like this muscle, the next bike goes taller and faster, with a luxury rocket vibe for confident riders. Number 3, KTM 1290 Super Adventure S. On highway hauls, it feels swift, stable, and relaxed even when the map says hurry. The 1301cc V-twin gives torquey shove and smooth roll-on, so passes stay quick. New sits near 20,999. Used examples run 10 to 22,000, bargain or premium by miles, often with service records and touring gear already installed. Tank is about 6.1 gallons. At 35 to 45 miles per gallon, the range hits 220 to 300 miles. Seat adjusts around 33.9 to 34.9 inches, keeping stops secure with good boots. You get serious electronics, cornering ABS, traction help, suspension that stays planted, plus cruise control to save risks. In real life, we chase a storm front, and the bike stays composed while our shoulders feel looser. Then we roll in hungry for dinner. It feels powerful, yet predictable, which keeps our mind calmer deep into the day. The height is reality, and swifter temptation can add fatigue if we forget to stretch. Next up is a lower, plush, full-dress tourer that feels silent at speed and loves big days. Number 2, Indian Pursuit. When the goal is to feel like the miles got easier, this rig delivers plush and windproof road time. It uses the Power Plus 108 cubic inch V-twin, and torque comes on smooth and steady for 2-up cruising. New trims start around 30,000. Used bikes run 20 to 45,000. Pricey or bargain by year and miles. The tank holds about 6.0 gallons, and with a 35 to 45 miles per gallon target, the range lands around 200 to 280 miles. Seat height is about 26.5 inches, which keeps the seat secure and comfortable when our legs feel tired. Touring tech is serious, with cruise control, wind management, luggage built in, and screens that make days simple. In real life, we knock out 600 miles, and we still have energy and fresh legs to walk the boardwalk. What makes it special is the bike carries the load for us, staying stable so our shoulders feel calmer in headwinds. The weight is reality, and backing it up on gravel can feel heavier than it looks. Number 1 keeps the sofa feel, but adds a more balanced vibe and a famously silent engine character. Do you like this video? Tap like, join membership for early access, and keep our road trip rolling with support today. Number 1, Honda Gold Wing Tour. Settle in, and the ride feels plush, silent, and simple, like the bike is doing the heavy lifting. In the 1,833 cubic centimeters flat, 6 stays smooth and balanced, making hours feel shorter. New runs around 29,500. Used options sit 10 to 35,000. Bargain or premium by year. Tank is 5.5 gallons. At 38 to 45 miles per gallon, the range lands 180 to 250 miles. Seat height is 29.3 inches and stops feel secure with a relaxed knee bend. You get touring tech like cruise control, reverse, big wind pocket, heated grips, and DCT options that keep traffic simple. In real life, we knock out 500-mile days, even after rough pavement and hot afternoons, then still feel fresh and happy enough to walk and stretch at the hotel. The magic is, fatigue stays low on day 2 and day 3, so we wake up ready instead of painful. It is heavy. Parking takes practice, and parts can feel pricey if you drop it. Our list ends here, but our road trip stays planned and simple, so click the next video and keep riding. Click the next video to continue our road trip. Join our tribe by subscribing. Want to support the channel and get early access? Become a member? Then hit like on this video. Which bike would you cruise today, buddy? Right now.